And 3, 2, 1, boom. And we're back with another episode of Scrap Gamers. This episode brought to you by Zenreal Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and our accessories, zenrealclothingco.com, and use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, a new playlist just got dropped on Zenreal Radio, zenrealclothingco.com. Free music to help you fuel your day. Finally, if you're located in the Port Union area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out the Port Union Bakery. They've got a plethora of delicious items such as empanadas and donuts, which were voted number 1 on BlogTO, and freshly baked bread made daily, crafted with love. All right, so the election is finally over.
Yeah, for 4 or 5 days after.
Well, yes, but we know who the winner is.
Well, yeah, officially that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday we found out Biden won. And yeah, what are your thoughts, Vish? You're in the political sphere more than I am.
What are my thoughts on it?
Yeah, what are you thinking?
I think it's a relief on a lot of Americans.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's true. I think what's funny is that,
well, I mean, a lot of Americans, I mean, it's almost 50-50. It's like 74 million Americans who voted for Biden and 70 million or 71 million that voted for Trump.
So it's really
it's
half of the Americans
yeah.
are yeah, I don't know. Everyone was talking about like a civil war happening after this election.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I feel like when he won, it was more of like a calm that really went over everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like you felt a rush of calm. Whereas like if Trump had won, it would have been like a rush of like adrenaline. You're like, oh, okay, what are we getting into now?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who's that guy? Vaughn Jones or something like that. The CNN reporter.
I don't know his name.
Yeah, I had to tag him yesterday in that like little video I made. But like, it's funny when you look at the 2016 one, and he was like, "Today is a dark day," and then like the 2021, it's like such a flip. And when I was watching the original 2016 one, I was like, "Oh, I get it." Like when he was saying like this was a white lash, you know,
right?
Because like backlash, white lash, because like they voted for somebody who was like so anti inclusive because of what just happened with like Obama's 8 years. You know, he was like, it was almost like he's like, yeah, I get it, this is like a big middle finger to the system, whatever. But then like, yeah, now it's like, it's interesting to see that like juxtaposition of
well, they also, what happened, I think, is a lot of them also believe that, oh, this guy's a businessman. I think he knows.
Oh, turn things around.
True. Right?
Yeah, that's true. This is the first time.
Yeah. And then I think what really did hurt him, it was his handling of COVID. I think that was what it came down to. Yeah.
Really?
I think it did. Yeah. It's not. I think economy-wise, before COVID, I think we said this. Like, I think he would have won if there was no COVID. It's just the way he handled it and how he bungled it a lot. Like with having over 200,000 Americans dead from this virus. That.
Right.
I think that was a lot of the older voters voted for Biden
because of that. Interesting. Yeah. I was wondering about when he got COVID. I was like, oh, this could actually work in his favor, because then he's like, oh, it didn't affect me, you know. But then we watched that Dave Chappelle thing, and he was saying like, I love that joke where he was like, it's like going to like homeless people and eating a burger and being like, don't let hunger rule your lives, but you're eating burgers, you know? So it's like, that's kind of what happened, you know, like COVID's not that bad, but it's like, yeah, but you had the best treatment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I wonder if that really rubbed people the wrong way, you know? But like, cause I was thinking it would actually make them feel more hopeful.
Yeah, right.
They're like, oh, like, yeah, but then turns out they were critically thinking, and they were like, oh no, this is actually a slap in our face, you know? But I don't know. I feel like.
But he did have, you know, I mean, there'll be more, like, people will look more into it, like research as to who are the voters and all that kind of thing will happen throughout the weeks.
Right.
Or months, maybe years. But I actually forgot where I was leading to, but I don't know. We'll see. He still hasn't conceded.
That's true too. Yeah. And one other thing is I totally forgot that like it would be 2 months more of this. Like
yeah. I mean, he's still in office until the 21st, so they have recounts to do. They will do. They will bring all that kind of thing to make all that. But some of these states, I think they go to recount because it's such a close margin that it automatically goes to recount. I guess I don't know.
Okay.
There's some things like that, and there's, I believe,
but so then why did he? Even though there's recounts, why did he celebrate? You know.
No recounts, but the margins are so big that it's still like you could have a recount, and even if you're like 30,000 or 40,000 votes ahead, you might find like 1,000 at the max, maybe even 2,000 votes that are like off. But you're still had 45 to 30,000 in the lead, so it doesn't really matter, even if it's a couple thousand votes
right.
that are incorrect. Yeah.
It's not going to be like 500,000 votes.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be 30,000 votes that are incorrect. That doesn't seem possible.
Right.
And that's kind of like what's happened in the past too. It's about like maximum about 1,000 votes that are like corrected.
Right.
But you're already in the lead of having way above that, so it doesn't really have an impact.
I'm kind of concerned for the next 2 months because it's like, what kind of retaliation or like backlash could this whole thing? You know, he's like, you know,
because they're fully they're
extremely racist at this point. Now it's like, oh, I can't believe they made us lose. You know, inciting the protests and the riots. You know, like when Alex Jones. But I feel like that's terrible media management on their behalf. Like you were showing me the live streams, and then Alex Jones was there, and then Alex Jones with a big platform is saying like, these global elites are trying to like control us. Like, oh man, like that is not good. Do you know that for certain, or you know?
Yeah. Or it's not like, it's also how other people take that message, right? Like,
true.
If they take it the wrong way, and then like, because he uses words like fight back, but it's like, when
it's like, do you mean physically fight back? Like, what are you talking about here?
Right. Yeah. And then that's come up to interpretation. So
and that's what I'm most worried about. Like, what are you gonna say in these last 2 months?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you still have the global platform in front of you.
Yeah. And especially with the rhetoric spreading even from Trump that there's a lot of voter fraud.
Exactly.
So there's something, I don't know.
Those extremists, you know. I was actually like expecting something to happen, or like, you know, in those movies where like,
I'm just looking at Trump's tweet because he hasn't talked since after Joe Biden's speech yesterday, the victory speech. He put something up like 3 hours ago, and he's like, we believe these people are thieves. The big city machines are corrupt. This is a stolen election.
The big city, eh? Yeah. So he's going for like the small town people.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's not good. But like, what's funny is like, isn't he a big city person too? Like he owns.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense. Like I don't get it.
Yeah, we should look at all the votes, or we should look at the votes. We're just beginning the tabulation stage. Like, that's fine. You can check all that. I still don't think you're gonna win.
Yeah, true. Point. It's so conflicting. Like watching, like those rallies really opened my eyes because like seeing like the hypocrisy in those rallies, you know, was very odd. Even like that statement about like the big city people, it's like, yeah, but you are like a billionaire, right? So it's like, what do you mean?
Well, even then, I don't even think he's a billionaire, but this is what he says.
But that's what he said. But that's what I mean. So it's like, you know, and like, what was the other thing they did? He was like, let's stop counting votes, but keep counting in these places. It's like, what?
That's contradictory statements. Right? It's like, so that means that means the whole process is working. I don't understand what you're, like really complaining here about.
But how do people not see it? You know what I mean? Like, that's a very weird thing.
And it's like, even if, so they say that the Democrats did something, but it's like, well, they don't have the Senate. Why would they win without taking the Senate?
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, what? Like, you know what I mean?
What was the thing you're saying? It's like, even if there's a Democratic, or not a Democratic, Democratic
president,
president, and then you have like a Republican Senate,
yeah,
it's like that's already conflicting.
yeah, like he's gonna have a hard time doing
Passing things,
yeah, passing things. He has to. I think he's good at that. It's about compromise. It's coming down to compromise. But
Right.
I know like some people, what it seemed like was some people were saying was they were voting, Senate was Republican, but they were voting for the president as Joe Biden.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, they just really didn't like Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What a weird thing, eh? It's like you're still Republican, but you're like, no, we need this guy out.
yeah.
That's so odd to think about. Like that there are some people that are like you were saying yesterday, like culty.
Yeah.
In their perspective of like when we were watching the speech, there was no other flags, just the American flag.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then at like the Trump rallies, it's like the conservative flag and like the MAGA stuff, and it's like weird.
Trump flag too. It's like
it's like, is this even like that's actually like
it's a mix of these different things, but it's like I thought it's just America.
yeah, right. We're not working together here. It's like, but that's what like dictatorships are, and like
right,
which is interesting because like if you were an enemy of the U.S. and you're watching this, you're like, oh, this is perfect. You're showing me your own demise. You know. But I kind of feel like when Biden won, it was like, okay, they still solidified their place at the top of a superpower. But I feel like if Trump had 4 more years, we'd see the decline of Rome. You know, like I've been saying it for a while, like, right, the decline of Rome. But now that they have Biden in place, it's like, okay, can you get your act together again?
Yeah.
You know, but like there are a few things like with this that are still kind of troubling. Like the fact that it was so close was weird.
Yeah, I mean, 74 million to 71 million.
That's weird because it's like so.
It's
then,
half of America, almost half of America. Yeah, more than.
So 50% of you are dumb. Like I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like. Because it's like when I say something like dumb, it's like, okay, that's an overarching statement. You would think, but then it's like you have like people who like support Trump, but their parents were illegal immigrants. So it's like, what are you talking about?
That's also true. Yeah, that's the other thing was he got more minority votes than any other Republican.
So it's like, what the hell? Like, are you not seeing the fact that he's like calling your ancestors like rapists and murderers? But then
I don't know if this is the cause of the internet, where you're only led on a certain path of what information you're getting.
Oh, okay. So they don't see those other things.
And then his continuous rhetoric of all these media being fake news is you don't trust them. Even with the results, you're not trusting them because he's put that in your head.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, totally. So it makes you question, like, he's really like rocked the foundation of government.
The American psyche.
Yeah. Like the trust of the global, like the globe, because we're all watching it. And it was interesting too, because like I was thinking that like why, like other countries, nobody really cares about their elections, but we care so much about the American election. But then I saw that little picture of like it's like in Enlightened Goku, if you want to check that out on Instagram. He was like we wonder why the whole world's watching, but they have military bases all over the world. It's like, yeah, because they're in our countries. Wow. So we need to know what you're going to do,
Yeah, because who's in the power, who's in the leading position, that does impact like internationally. Like I think it was Trump when he moved the troops out of, is it Kurdish or something, the Kurdish people that they were protecting, then it created problems because of
power vacuums and stuff.
Yeah. And they didn't like that happened, the Kurdish people, because they were there like kind of like keeping things calm between Turkey and them, because there's an issue between Kurdish and Turkey. So it's like them leaving is causing other issues.
Right.
Depends like that. So it does have an impact who is in the leadership position. Right.
Then you're gonna start like forecasting. Are they gonna pull out? Or are they gonna like?
No, because we don't know. Like it was such a like out of nowhere. Like, oh, we just heard like they're moving the troops out of there. I think they were being sent to Saudi Arabia or something like that.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's like, yeah.
And then it's like there goes our like military.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, like they have so many fingers in the pots of the world that like, and they just carry the biggest stick, you know? So it's like, of course we're all gonna watch. Because I was really confused by that. I was like, why are we all so obsessively watching this election? But it's like, no, that actually makes sense. They have their fingers in everything. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Yeah. That's weird. Except this person on Instagram, they like, shout out to you, Aditya. You were like, oh look, they don't have one in Russia, a base, and I'm like, yeah, because of the Cold War.
Yeah, they won't. Not with. They won't have bases with who they're not allies with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's so trippy. I was really expecting the decline of Western civilization after this one, but like now I'm like, okay, I think it'll mend itself slowly. Yeah, you know. But like Tim Kennedy put up a good point. He was on Joe Rogan and he was saying he's like a Green Beret, and he's saying that like when Obama went into office, he took out a third of the budget. Like no, the budget became 1/3 of what it was. So he left because he's like, we're just fighting a losing battle. Like why am I gonna be here? And then Trump got in office and he's like, I'll give you anything you need. So then he went back into service because he's like, now we can win the wars, you know. So it's like, I wonder how they're going to like manage that. You know what I mean? Like, because you have like so many people you're still serving. Yeah. You know? Yeah. The presidency. I mean, like being a president, you have to like really manage it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Compromises here. It's not like, even with all that, it's like, but Obama did do like more drone strikes. Maybe he focused more on the drone area versus having necessarily.
Oh, so maybe that's what it was. He's like, we don't actually need occupation. Don't worry, we'll just drop bombs.
Yeah, because then you're saving lives. Or saving American lives.
True. That makes sense, yeah.
Because he did drop more bombs, more drone strikes than Bush did. He did more than Bush.
Yeah, true. So, yeah, exactly. Like so maybe that's what it was. It was like when they say like, oh, he dropped the most bombs. It's like, yeah, but he saved the most lives. Interesting. All right, so this is total conspiracy, but like, wouldn't it be trippy if like Trump was actually like a Russian plant?
Wait, isn't that what they've been saying?
They were saying that, but now that when you really think about it, it's like, especially after this election and what he's doing, it's like, what if? Because he's friends with like Kim Jong-un and like, you know, all those like powerful.
Yeah, leaders, I mean that happened after right,
totally,
the Kim Jong-un thing. But like the thing with the Russia collusion has been there since the 2016 election, right?
Yeah, but if you think about it, it's like, why are you making our country look so bad? Like you're almost like killing it from the inside out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. Like now, just the way he handled everything and the fact that he's like dividing the country. If you were a conspiracy theorist, I could see the point for that. Yeah. You know? Right. Not saying it's real. It's a total like conspiracy. Yeah. But like what better way to bring down the most powerful nation than by getting your person in the presidency and then him making a mockery of the whole system, right? Yeah. He's even saying like he's saying democracy's a lie, right? Because like, oh, those votes are like fake votes or whatever. So what does that mean about our system? Yeah. As the president, you're knocking our electoral system.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. It's like that's the most genius way to bring down an entire country. The one that like promotes change and like freedom around the world. It's like,
it's like it really matters what they say, right? So like we were seeing some of these concession speeches from John McCain, right? The one that lost against Obama, and you saw like the rhetoric was like, oh yeah, we're all still Americans.
Yeah. Remember they were pissed, and then he like settled them down. He's like, relax.
Yeah, like, we're still all Americans. This is like he's you know what I mean. But his thing is,
or the thing he showed me where he's like, oh, he's a Muslim, whatever. He's like, he's a good guy. Like John McCain was well, like that is how you should do it. You shouldn't be like creating these false
I think
lies.
That's what people, even though people don't like John McCain, because again he's on the Republican side or was on the Republican side, but like he did have some decency too.
Yeah, totally.
Keep it calm here, right? So, but Trump uses that to fuel it even more.
Yeah, totally.
And creates that like these guys are evil. Saying it, but that's not the way it actually is, right? That's why I wanted to see what the way Joe Biden was speaking also was once again like trying to unify everything again.
Yeah, he was. Like, he really was.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what a president is supposed to do, because you're not supposed to just be for one side. You're supposed to be for all of them, all of America.
Totally, yeah.
Not just one side of America. Right?
Think about it like this. All right, so like countries are built like businesses, right? Like basically the president is the interim CEO, not interim CEO. He is a CEO, but like for a set amount of time, right? So like, how does that make sense if your CEO is like, hey, I side with the marketers, but not the accountants. You're like, what? But we're working for the same company.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Like when people talk about like politics at work, it's like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. You know, it's like it should be very like, let's get our objective done.
Yeah, because when the COVID stuff was happening, Trump was blaming Democrats or Democratic cities or like New York. Oh, it's run by a Democrat. They don't know how to do anything. Like he's really causing the separation here. Well, but you are the president. You're supposed to help everyone.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like a good CEO would like, unify everyone and be like, let's get all on the same page.
Yeah.
You know? What I'm like the only.
But that's what the thing is, that they need leadership. I don't know if he's necessarily a good leader or has proper leadership skills.
No, I don't think so.
Well, yeah, I mean, it looks like a lot of his own ventures were failures.
I was about to say, if you look at, like, he was the CEO of multiple ventures, and it's like, look how he handled those, you know? But okay, so going back to the person on CNN who was, like, crying 4 years ago, it's like, I lost my train of thought when I heard that.
The CEO?
Yeah.
I mean, the CNN person?
Yeah, the CNN person. When he was crying all those years ago. Oh, yeah. And then he was saying, like, that, like, I get it. This is an anti-establishment attempt.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I was like,
Van Jones is
oh, thanks. Yeah. That makes sense. It's like, okay, let's just see what would happen if we really shook up the system, you know? And then, lo and behold, exactly what the biggest fears were happened. And it's like, okay, we won't do that again. You know, it's like, it's sort of like, it's like this like Buddhist philosophy where it's like you go extreme on one side, you go extreme on the other side, and you find your middle.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like them electing Trump was like them attempting, let's go all the way to the end.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that was pretty bad. Let's bring it back. You know what I mean? But like at the same time, it's like, why do half of you still vote for him? It's like, did you not see the last 4 years?
I don't know. He's really got this,
cult mentality.
Yeah, this cult mentality, but he's really got these like evangelicals thinking that he's.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like all those people that were like, Jesus will vote, Jesus will get him in office or whatever. Like,
yeah. I'm like, why? What's going on? I think
you just showed me with like the Jesus picture, and he had like the MAGA hat on.
Yeah.
It's like weird.
Somehow, I guess, you know, I mean, the majority of Americans are still Christian.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. You know, like he's like going on their vote. But you know what's weird? Like hypocrisy in terms of the U.S. What'll be really interesting is in a few weeks, like not a few weeks, like in a few months, when we're starting to talk about like U.S. politics again, and then we start like harping on like Joe Biden.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, like what I want to stress is that like the work isn't done. Nothing is like, just because he got elected, like that's a big step in the right direction, but it's like you still have to like fix things, you know?
Yeah. But
and you're going to stumble.
I think democracy is messy is one of those lines that Joe Biden said. And
yeah, totally.
And even like he doesn't have all the power, right? So it comes like when you have to do a lot of changes, it's really compromising or trying to make deals with Republican side and
totally
right?
and externally too. You have to like appease things internally, appease things externally,
right and it's still going to be a tough job, like
totally
to do all that.
And I think we shouldn't forget that.
And the thing was like when I remember in the debates when he was complaining like, oh, you've been in power and you haven't done anything. Well, it's about compromise. He, like, you know what I mean? Like, even with under Obama, it's like he had first 2 years, I believe, of his 8 years, that the first 2 years he had the House and the Senate.
Okay.
But then after 2 years, because midterm elections, the Senate, I think, or the House, I'm not sure which one it was, became red or Republican. So he had hard times after that trying to pass things. And as people forget, like, this is how it works. Right. Like, it's not like someone's in president and then he can do all these things.
Totally.
It doesn't work like that.
But totally. I just want to circle back on the evangelical thing really quick, because like I think it's a little weird that like even during Joe Biden's speech, he was referencing God. Yeah. And I was like, but it's supposed to be a secular country. That's what it was like founded on. You know, church and state it's much more separate.
Yeah, but it's much more a bit more different when Joe Biden says it, because it's when he's saying God, he's not specifically saying Christian God.
No, totally,
right.
Totally,
so that's another thing that is a bit different.
Irregardless, like secularism is about no God, right? Yeah. So it's like, but they did it in a way like you're like, oh, secularist is evil. No, it's like so that you can bring your own God to the table. Yeah, that's why you know. But like, thinking about the cult mentality that you're talking about, it's like maybe that's. Like I wouldn't think Trump is particularly religious, but he's saying it because he can get the vote. Yeah, and it's like maybe that's what he's doing. Like I wonder.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I don't think this guy's religious. This guy doesn't seem totally, like that. Yeah. I don't think any of his actions have ever been religious.
Exactly. So like, I wonder if the people are not voting for him, but voting for the ideal of like God. Yeah, but. Then that just brings back into question like your intelligence, because it's like you're going to overlook everything just because you believe he's referencing God, you know?
Well, some say that he's changed and blah, blah, blah. How do you know that? And I don't know.
Like, totally. But that's almost like one of the sicknesses of the world, you know, like unwavering faith, right? So like Osho, nobody likes Osho because of like the Wild Wild Country. Unless you haven't seen it, and then like maybe you do like Osho. The thing that I like about him, one of the things he said was like, we put too much faith in religion, but faith is blind and it makes you dumb. Put trust into it, because trust can easily be broken. Yeah. And if you put trust, it's like then you're using your intelligence, because like I trust you up until I don't. Yeah. You know, but it's like, but if you have faith, it's like you can have blind faith where it's like, even though you wronged me, I have faith that you're going to convert back into, you know what I mean? It's like, what? No, you know? Yeah. But that's what I mean about like I feel like it's one of the plagues of humankind. Like we need to evolve past this.
Yeah. But it's still like majority of people are very religious and or which is some form of belief in God.
It almost seems like an archaic thing. Like, all right, certain people need religion. They need God. Right? Like for example, Khabib, right? He was in the mountains. It's a very hard life. They're very devout Muslims, right? Yeah. And I respect that. You need that, you know? And it's like the Philippines, they're very devout Catholics. You need that. Yeah. It's a tough life. But like when you, what's that guy? Healthy Gamer? I posted it. You were showing me before, but I love his line. You can't meditate on an empty stomach. So like, yeah, you're going to fall into these like religions because you are suffering. But once you've alleviated all your suffering, then you can do the real work of unshackling yourself from other illusions. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if all these countries were like amazing, then it's like, okay, you have free time. You can like, you can like educate yourself further. Like, what is the origins of religion? Like, I don't think people in those countries have read like Sapiens. You know what I mean?
No, because the majority,
right? Because in that book, the reason why I like Sapiens is they talk about like humans as an animal, and then they take one of the things as religion is like that's our guiding force. Back when we only had stories. Yeah, you know. Yeah. I also feel like this one president thing will evolve past that too in the future, because how can one person? I feel like Joe Rogan brought this up. It should be like a governing body of people. It shouldn't just be one person. They should like make decisions as like, I guess like a board of directors kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of still like that.
Yeah, but
you still have a head person, even with any business, right?
Yeah, but typically in a CEO position, they don't make all the decisions. It's decentralized. So it's like you have your marketing manager, you have your like finance manager.
Yeah, they have the same sort of thing.
Right, but like the CEO is not going to the marketing manager and being like, we should push this. he's trusting like you just run with it.
Yeah.
That's your department.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like the fact that
that's what like, it reminds me of like when Obama was there, when they had it in the totally under control thing.
Yeah.
It's like he gave the dealing with the thing. It's exactly, like, well, you have the knowledge of how to deal with pandemics or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's you. Like that's what's gonna happen.
Right.
That's what's always, I think, generally has happened.
Yeah, I guess.
Because they do have positions of power of who are in these positions. It's just like Trump was putting people who didn't have any experience in that. Like
okay.
Like like the education person. She has no experience in how to deal with education.
Yeah. I think what it is he made such a mockery of these last 4 years that I can't even like fathom what else it looked like.
Because they were saying that he was putting people in who had experience in it, who were just loyal to him.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, totally.
Like the head of housing or whatever it was, he was a surgeon. It's like, what does he know about how to
housing? Yeah. That's so weird. So no, if you really look at it, it is like a business.
Yeah.
That really is how they run things. Yeah. I don't know.
Because within that, they have their own teams too, right? Like they don't know everything. They have to have a good team as well.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. I think because I'm thinking a bit more like the last 4 years and like how it seemed to run more like an authoritarian government than like an actual. So like
because it made more sense at that time because he was only putting people who were loyal to him, not people who were actually knowledgeable in these things.
Right.
That's why he didn't know what he was doing when he.
But I mean, he was spouting off things like like he was spouting off solutions.
Right.
Right. So I was like, why are you going to spout off the solutions? No, It should be the experts.
Yeah.
But then watching it, it's like the experts are going against him.
Yeah.
So I was like, so it's run improperly.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, his governance was run improperly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It was such a long time ago. I don't even remember.
Like, sometimes we tend to forget, but like, it's.
Yeah. All right. That's good then that it runs like that.
And I think Joe Biden will run it like that. So I don't think.
Well, the other thing is like I saw this meme of like, the Pizzagate stuff or QAnon that they were talking about, and like how like Trump is like a huge supporter of that, and then like people that I follow, like I didn't even know that they were supporters of Trump, and then they were like posting this. They got a quick unfollow, but they were posting this like Biden like pedophile ring, and I'm like, what the hell? Like okay, totally, like sure, even if that really is the case, it's like we can still clean up our act, but you're not looking at all of the craziness that's on like the Trump side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like you're going off these. Oh, we're reverting back to our old, like satanic worshiper side, but it's like, yeah, but those were like those were unfounded truths,
right?
You're like ignoring the factual truths of what he's saying. Like if you just watch a Trump rally, you're like, this is so like hypocritical. Like the things you're saying are like not aligned with reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, one of the things I was thinking about was like when he was talking about so like I think it's sort of like this, like if you're a good leader, you go to the movement of your slowest buffalo, right? So for example, like if all of us are on the same team and you don't understand quantum physics, but we all do, I have to teach you quantum physics. I have to like guide you along, or else you'll be confused and you might make the wrong decision, right? So like when he was talking about the catch and release policy, and then like, okay, totally, like when he was like, oh, the rapist murderers, it's like maybe, but like you have to qualify those like bad people, and you can't just make a blanket statement and make other people assume it's all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the way he phrased it made it sound like it was everyone. That were rapists and murderers. But I get what he's saying. I was like, no, some like
he said at the end, like, some are good people, but like the major statement was in the beginning where he's saying it seems like you're saying most people are.
So you're like, whoa, so they're all rapists and murderers? Like you have to qualify, and those are big statements. I don't even know, like, has any other president said that kind of stuff?
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, that's crazy.
Nothing like that. But like the thing is, then people really break it down to, oh, but he said some people, like, that's the rhetoric thing that
Hey, not me
yeah,
though.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'll vote for him because it's not me. It's like, yeah, but how do you know? Like the one that really confused
Like
me.
he played good, like he played well with the words
Yeah,
because it caused confusion in a lot of those people.
Exactly.
I'll give him that. Like, yeah.
But that's why I say he's a master manipulator.
Yeah,
Like it's impressive to
Yeah.
be able to do that. Like the fact that you actually got half of the country believing in you, that's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
But then what does that say about that half of the country? Yeah. I'm optimistic again, I would say.
Yeah.
Over everything.
Yeah, let's see how this next few days go,
but it's definitely not over, you know. Oh, the Kamala Harris thing, her being like, everyone talking about how she's they're like saying she's like black or
they're saying well, Joe Biden said both, so
okay, yeah.
So at least he's acknowledging.
But yeah. You want that full representation. She is also Indian.
Yeah, South Asian. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
She's mixed South Asian and African American.
Yeah. I get that little shout out. I can't wait till somebody's like, it's like Bruno Mars, you know, he's like half white or something, but we all call him Filipino because we want to claim him.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. So it's like don't forget the other half, so that you know.
I didn't know he was half Filipino.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's half Filipino. His dad's like, maybe that's fake news. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he's half because like
right,
I was.
Right. Well, I didn't even look into the ethnicity wise. I just.
What, her?
No, I mean like talking about Bruno Mars. Like, I just know him just as a musician. So.
Oh yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
I've been hearing a lot of like negative stuff like about people like Trump supporters talking about like Kamala Harris, like she's like a very like she wanted to keep people locked up, or she's like a very like
tough judge,
yeah, something like that. But it's like, yeah, but how much worse? Or like, all right, sure, maybe she's a tough judge, but at least we know there'll be some civil like discourse.
Mm-hmm.
You may be a tough judge, but it's like you still have, you know, like civility,
right? Yeah,
right. It's not nothing compared to like Trump, who's just going on like crazy rants that like are unfounded. Yeah,
and then that caused a lot of people to believe it.
Exactly. So it's like sure, the other side might be bad in their own way, but it's like you really got to take the lesser of two evils here, you know. I'm like us being like pro Biden. It's not really pro Biden. Like I don't really like care. Like I think Bernie Sanders should have won, or Andrew Yang. Love Andrew Yang. But it's more like, do you want to stick to what's been happening, or do you want to try and go back to what it was? I feel like that's really what the vote came down to.
Right.
Had nothing to do with like Republican, Democrat. I wasn't even looking at it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was like Joe Biden and like Andrew Yang, I'd have been like Andrew Yang, you know. But like,
well, that's what the primaries are for. But they all picked Joe Biden.
Totally. But like, but what I mean is like, this wasn't an election about policy. This was an election about
taking back our democracy.
Yeah, totally. I was gonna say like anti-authoritarian movements, but like no, that's really what it is. Yeah. Taking back the democracy.
But it's such an embarrassing thing to have only one term.
Yeah, you're saying that. Yeah.
Like I think whoever has a one term has always been made fun of or like looked on as a loser in a sense, as his own words.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, oh, you're just a one term president, bro. That's
you couldn't even give you a second shot.
Yeah, because there's the ratio is like, or the percentage rate of you winning again is higher as an incumbent generally, but to lose, it's like it means you did that bad that people really wanted you out. Right?
That's
like
true,
that's what that.
Well,
that's
at
what
least half the people wanted out.
Well, yeah, I mean, the more people turned out this year than ever to vote.
True. Yeah.
Overall, and then I think that's the highest that any Democrats have gotten as well. And that's just causes him to have only one term.
Well, what do you think about this thing about him running again in
24?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Maybe. But he could just be saying that, and I don't know.
I feel like if you get 4 years of Biden, people will not. I feel like it's like.
Well, let's see, because what Trump starts to do. Like, what is his rhetoric after, right?
But do you think he'll still have a platform after?
If he can convince the people that this was a fraud kind of thing.
What if they deplatform him?
That's what I was gonna say. Because like as soon as after Tuesday night, like whatever he was tweeting, they were Twitter was not blocking it, more like highlighting it. This could be misinformation.
Yeah.
So it was like almost every single tweet that he was saying, like the voter fraud thing or like these sort of things. Twitter was like on top, and then I think now that he's officially lost, it's like
let's just kick him off the platform.
I don't know if they'll kick. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know because he won't get the same amount of rights as if he was a president.
Exactly,
right?
Because the fact that you deplatformed Alex Jones, you deplatformed Milo. It's like, how could you not deplatform this guy?
Yeah. This is gonna come into some question here. Yeah.
Right?
They might do that.
Could you imagine if they deplatformed the old president?
It's never been done in history, so...
Could you imagine the backlash, though, of like...
Right. Yeah. Oh, of course.
You're starting a war at that point. It's like, yeah, Alex Jones, like, whatever. Yeah, Milo, whatever. Like, who do you have that's going to, like, back you? But, like, you got to remember that Trump is also a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what connections does he have? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, but his campaign was always fighting against big tech. So that's what he says in the rallies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So then what? Yeah, you know why? Because all of the people that voted for him watched Social Dilemma and was like, yeah, that is bad. You know, but it's like, yeah, but we're listening to you through Twitter.
Right.
Donald Trump, I don't get it. But that's the insanity to me, you know, like, what was that thing Alex Jones like shouting? He's like, they're trying to silence, like the big industries are trying to control us. And it's like, yeah, because you guys are kind of nuts, you know, like,
yeah.
Like if you watch the Joe Rogan podcast with Alex Jones, he's like kind of off the wall, you know?
Yeah. Like I like how Joe Rogan was trying to like
calm down,
down a bit. And like, okay, let's actually look some of these up. And then some things are true, but then it's like there were some things it's like, oh, that's based on your interpretation. Like
exactly.
There was like that didn't really say that.
Yeah. Or we couldn't find this, and he's like, oh, I remember it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's weird. That one is weird.
Yeah.
That like anybody who listens to him, Alex Jones, and thinks he's like full of fact. It's sort of like,
I think I put it on Alex Jones after that election thing just to see, but he's been now touting, I don't know, I guess 1776. I'm not too sure what that is. I didn't look that up. But then he was also saying it's 79 days of hell, like because he technically lost, right? Trump lost, so it's like, what's going to happen in the next 79 days?
Yeah, totally.
Till Joe Biden comes into the White House.
I wonder. Do you think like speculation time? Do you think Joe Biden can actually put like thing under control, COVID?
I don't know. Like at this point, they've got 9 million cases,
like
or they've had 9 million cases, so that I don't know how you're gonna control this at this point.
Unless you do
a shutdown. You really got to do a shutdown, or I don't know. Like that's he's gonna have to get briefed on everything in order to know what to do.
You know what's weird?
He's got to build his cabinet now of all the people he's gonna put in there.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
I wonder if he can actually do like a. It's the defiant ones that like really perplex me. So like, let's say you do like 14-day lockdown. You give everyone food. Like let's just say everyone has to stay indoors for 14 days. We'll kill this virus.
Yeah.
You know, like it's the outliers. It's the renegades that don't want to do it that really perplex me. So like I was at Canon Computers yesterday, and there was this guy. This is the second time I've seen somebody not wear a mask. And I was like confused. I was like, what? But we all had it. I'm like, what's going through your mind that you believe you're exempt from this?
Right.
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, somebody was like, hey, you have to wear a mask in the store. And he just swore at her. And we were all just looking at him. And then he's like, I have a respiratory issue. And then I was like thinking like, okay, yeah, maybe he does have a respiratory issue. That's fine. But then I'm like, but there's also face shields.
Yeah.
Which don't obstruct your mouth.
Right.
Why don't you just get a face shield then? You know what I mean? Like there's solution. Because I was thinking like, yeah, but what if you can't breathe? Because I find it hard to breathe in a mask. Like I'll admit that. Like when people are like, oh, it's still oxygen. I'm like, it is, but it's still difficult. Like you know what I mean? It's still difficult.
It goes in and out. Like
exactly. Yeah. So like, why don't you just switch up the solution? Like I thought in my head, I'm like, are we not taking into account these people who have like a respiratory issue? And then I remembered that they're face shields. I'm like, this guy could just get a face shield, bro. Like what?
Right.
Made no sense to me, you know? He's just like being defiant, you know? And then there was another person at Walmart. They just didn't care at all. I was like, but nobody said anything. So like, I was waiting for something to be like $6, like start filming them and be like, oh, let's get this on camera, you know? But I was like, those must be like rare instances.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Right. I think
most people are civil. Like,
yeah.
Like he went to go buy something, the guy without a mask. And then the lady was like, okay, that'll be like 17, whatever. And I was like, yeah, just let him leave. Like, why you don't need to film this, bro? Like, who cares, you know? But what is tone have changed if police came?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, is it because you're in a store? I'm just trying to figure out like the mentality of somebody that doesn't wear a mask. I don't get it. It's like, how are you exempt? You know?
Yeah. It's such a simple thing. And you don't have to wear it outside. It's just inside of a store. You're doing a quick thing, and then you like when you wear like a scarf around your neck, or like when we do that in wintertime. Yeah. Like it's not anything crazy. I don't feel, anyways. So.
But that's where you get like the cultish mentality of like, you're taking away my civil liberties. It's like, no, we're trying to protect other people. That's all.
And protect you at the same time as others. It's like you got to really think about. It's about thinking about other citizens, or like, or your fellow citizens, right? Like. When you're wearing a mask, I think that's what that's about.
Or that idea of like, the faster we all get on the same page, the faster we can get this over with.
Yeah,
that's another thing. You know what I mean? Like
we have to look at what do they do in Taiwan? What do they do in North Korea or South Korea that worked? They were wearing masks.
Everyone in North
Korea. they wore masks.
Yeah, so it's like, and it's gone.
Yeah.
So why don't we just do that? You know? Yeah, that's so perplexing to me. Like the people that are like, especially like when this all began, they're like, I want my hair cut. I'm like, oh, you guys are so dumb, bro. Like,
right, yeah.
You know? Yeah. And then like seeing on like, meanwhile in Mississauga, and then it's like house parties, and you're like, oh, like let's just all do our part, quickly get this thing over with. We all hate it as much as you hate it. But you know it was an interesting thing that they were saying on, I think it was like, Tim Kennedy or Cameron. No, I think it was Tim Kennedy. What's scary is echo chambers, and when you're left alone in quarantine, you're just in your own echo chamber. Like you're just watching what you want to watch. You're not interacting with other people who have different ideas. Right. Like, because if you go to work, at least you have other people with different ideas. You know. But like the fact that you're like stuck at home, and like let's say you work from home, your whole Facebook feed is like, you know, anti-mask. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I look at both sides.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I just want to see what the other side is also saying.
Yeah.
Just so I understand as well.
Because it's like really healthy. And it's, you know what it is? People who take ideas and then put them as their own personal characteristic. It's like so ideas were meant to flow. You know, like truly intelligent people will listen to something and they're open to change. Yeah. But if your identity is wrapped in one idea, that's when you take it personally. Yeah. And it's like, no, this mask idea has nothing to do with you. Yeah. You know?
It became politicized.
Yeah, weird. Very weird. And like, because Canada's the little brother of US, it's politicized here too. Yeah. Which is so frustrating, because it's like, are you dumb? Like that's actually my thought. It's like, do you just not critically think? You know, I don't think it's selfishness. Like some people are like, oh, maybe they're just selfish. They just care about their own. I think they're just dumb. Like actually, like I'm not saying
maybe
that,
they didn't get the right information. They're following some, the echo chamber thing that you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with it. Yeah, I believe so.
I don't think it's like I really don't think it's out of, I think it's out of a lack of education.
Or it's like, it's like, oh, well, the ones who died only had they had other illnesses and they died from it. It's like, it's not.
But that was the thing we were talking about. It's like when like the thing I didn't like about like when Joe Rogan and like Elon Musk, they were talking about like, oh, if anything, if you had COVID, but you had diabetes, they count as a COVID death. And then when I first heard it, I was like, yeah, that's true, you know, because I like both Elon Musk and Joe Rogan. So of course I'm going to gravitate towards it. Yeah. But a truly open mind is like going to critically think about it after and be like, oh no, I actually disagree with you. Even though I like these two people, it's like, but the impetus was them getting COVID. They wouldn't have died elsewise or like, well, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. They would have even lived on for a little bit more longer.
Yeah, because the diabetes was under control.
Yeah.
Through the medication.
Yeah.
But then you get COVID, and it's like, I can't bounce back from this.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's some food for thought. Even though you idealize someone, always critically think about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because maybe they just haven't critically thought about it. Like, they haven't thought about that point. Or maybe they have a point to that point. I don't know. But, like, you should always be willing to, like, have your current opinion be overtaken by a new opinion.
Yeah. But also, they're not experts in epidemiology or, like...
Exactly. That's the other thing. It's like, just make rockets, bro. Just talk. Like, Joe Rogan's a podcaster. Just talk. I love you're so entertaining.
Yeah.
Go live your life and be inspirational.
Yeah.
You know? But, like, you're not a scientist. He says that, though. To be fair,
He's
does
like,
say that. I'm not a scientist. So
yeah, he does say that a lot. He said you should not listen to me for political advice or this, that. He does say that.
Yeah,
so
which is good. You know, that's why I like him too.
But it's still,
like, you're being
people still.
But you have a big platform.
You have a big platform.
So like, yeah, but also if you have a big platform, because I'm trying to think if I was in those shoes, like let's say like 150 billion people.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
It's like you still want to be yourself. So it's like,
yeah, exactly. No, but you know, people will still believe you. Like they will still
diehard
think that way. Yeah.
But you know what that comes down to? A lack of education.
Yeah,
it's super important to educate yourself. You know. Yeah.
That was a great line yesterday's Dave Chappelle one about like I don't understand why poor white people don't want to wear masks.
Oh, why? Oh, because their lack of education.
No, you guys wear masks at Klan rallies.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you wear it at Walmart?
Yeah. Because the racist, the KKK mask, yeah. Just wear the same KKK mask. That's true. You don't complain about not being able to breathe when you're wearing the hood. Yeah, that's true.
That was a great joke.
Yeah. I love that they put Dave Chappelle back on the same time when Trump was in office as well.
Yeah. And he was trying to like, let's bring it back. Let's give him a chance. Like,
he did get a little. He did say that.
Yeah.
When he got in office, he's like, let's give him a chance. We'll see.
Yeah.
You know? And then now he's just like the butt of the joke.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Damn, I had one more thing, but I totally forgot it. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have any?
No, it'll be exciting to see what happens next. I just want to see how this transition of power works, and is he going to follow through with any kind of concession speech? I don't think so.
True.
And how that transition works, that'll be an interesting.
Yeah, I think we're in for an exciting 2 months.
Yeah.
I hope not, though. I really
nothing
hope not.
crazy, but like let's.
Yeah, I hope nothing crazy happens. Like let's just get through these, and then we'll like look for a brighter tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember what I was going to talk about.
Oh.
All right, bring it up because we're talking about intelligence. Okay, so it's kind of a side note, but like related to religion. Okay, so we're talking about education, right? So in the Bible, everything began because of Eve eating from the tree of knowledge.
Yeah.
Like the whole Bible started like the downhill. The downhill. Like the first thing was about the creation, right? But like I'm talking about like
or the sin of man.
Yeah, the original sin.
Yeah.
Was eating from the apple of knowledge. So is the moral of the entire Bible to remain ignorant?
I think so.
Like really, right?
Yeah,
it's like but that's also why Trump is using that. So it's like a evil Jedi powers, you know? He knows that that's what it is. So he's like, let me just manipulate this so that I can use this against you. God said this. You're like, oh, are you going to be overly knowledgeable instead of ignorant like you should be? You know? But again, like lack of education.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I like Jordan Peterson's. He takes it more of an, like, that was a pretty, like, rough way that I put it.
Yeah.
But Jordan Peterson's one is like, it's an allegory for knowledge itself. So like you leave the Garden of Eden because you like, so ignorance is bliss. You realize, oh wait, the world is different than I thought.
Yeah.
So you grow up. And then you have to somehow make your way back into the Garden of Eden. You become like overly knowledgeable to the point that you realize what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to kind of like get over the hurdle of knowledge.
Right.
You know? So you leave. It's like when you're like 5, everything's amazing for you. You hit 18, you're like, ooh, I gotta find my way in the world. But then you have to go back to the Garden of Eden before you die by realizing like life is a gift, et cetera, et cetera.
Right, right.
You know, so if you look at it like that, sure,
but that's based on interpretation.
Yeah, but
that's basically looking at it more like not,
hopeful.
Literally.
It's
also not literally.
Right. It's like a hopeful pursuit to somehow make some sense out of what's going on.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Jordan Peterson's one, and I agree with that. That's a great allegory. But if you look at it in a reductionist approach, this is what I was doing. It's like, is that the moral of the story? Because everything started to go south after they started to gain knowledge.
Yeah.
So are you telling me that it's bad to be knowledgeable?
Yeah.
However, the Gnostics, like Gnostic Bible and stuff, Gnostic means knowledge.
Yeah.
And what they actually praise the snake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the snake's the one who started to give them knowledge, gnosis.
Right.
But then they're also like considered like satanic worshipers or something like that. I don't know. No, I'm just saying it's like there's so many conflicting things within this thing. I'm just saying.
Well, the thing is, it's a made-up story.
It's totally.
We do know that, right?
Right. I'm just saying
because there's so many other stories that are similar to that too. It's like
no, totally. I agree with
right?
you. I agree with
yeah.
you. But I'm just wondering like what, like people who believe in this, like like the Trump supporters. It's like, why did you not critically think about what it is you're getting into?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm saying like education is key. It's like you need to know
exactly.
what is it I'm doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Like why am I doing this?
But not if you think he's the second coming.
That's true too. But then that's lack of education.
Yeah.
So educate yourselves, people. That is the moral of this podcast.
But they won't be listening to this podcast.
Yeah,
How
true.
do you outreach
yeah,
to
that's
them?
true
How do you
too.
outreach to that?
Yeah, that's true too. If you're listening to this, you probably are already educated because you're like critically thinking, But like, yeah, I think that's the thing with the Joe Rogan podcast too. I think they should listen to it. This is how I listen to it. It's like I'm listening to a conversation between two people. That's what you and I are doing right now.
Yeah.
But it's not the be all end all truth. It's just a conversation.
Yeah.
But
like when Alex Jones showed up at that rally,
yeah,
like I saw someone was talking because there was someone else filming there, and then this lady was saying like, "Oh, did you see him on Joe Rogan? Oh, he was so good." It's like they love Alex Jones too.
Wow.
They love Alex Jones.
See that? But what do you mean he was so good? He was drunk. And he was spitting off facts that weren't. And he was also saying like,
So that's what I'm saying. You're
Joe.
also not looking at the whole thing. You're only nitpicking the ones that fit to you.
Yeah. I don't know. Education. Get educated. All right. Till next time. Be sure to check out ZenRealClothingCo.com. Use offer code Socrates for 20% off select items. There is a new playlist on Zenreal Radio. Free playlist to fuel your day. And if you are located in the Scarborough, Toronto area, be sure to check out the Portian Bakery. Delicious items baked daily and crafted with love. Oh, and also if you stop by the bakery, be like, hey, Arvel, what's up? And then he'll give you some Timbits. Or not Timbits, like donut holes, I guess you would call that. Because Timbits are a branded trademark.
Right.
And probably a big hug when COVID's over. Actually, wait. One weird thing, and I was kind of like, is that from us? I don't know. I don't understand. This person was like, they came in the bakery. Arvel called me, and, then, and he's like, he called me. And he's like, do you know this person named like Madison? I'm like, no, I think her name was Madison. And he's like, yeah. She came and said like, oh yeah, BJ told me like we could film here. And then I was like, well, first of all, that's not my professional name, so I wouldn't know this person, and I don't personally know a person named. And he's like, "Oh, are you a friend of his?" And then she's like, oh, she looked at it and she's like, oh, actually, never mind. It's too small. But I'm like, who is this person now? Kind of freaky. It's like that person on Twitch. Remember, like she was like live streaming all the time, and then like people started showing up at her work, and then she's like, I gotta quit this job. It's kind of like venturing into that zone. So it's kind of freaky. I'm just saying. It's a little weird. Yeah. A little weird. All right. So if you're out there in Madison, stop doing that. You're creepy. Until next time, take it easy.
Yeah. Peace.
Bye.